Everyone, my name is Jacob. Thank you for joining me. In part one, we looked at 4 different mechanical broadheads to determine which of those broadheads would be in my quiver for this hunting season. And in this video, we're looking at 5 different fixed blade broadheads to determine which of these would be in my quiver. Because I like to have one of each based on the particular hunting situation. A fixed blade doesn't accidentally deploy early. It cuts on contact. It can potentially break through bone. It doesn't release kinetic energy to open up blades, so therefore it has more kinetic energy driving through that animal and potentially creating a pass through. But it doesn't have a large wound channel. It doesn't leave a great blood trail. And if that animal moves, then a great shot might be a marginal shot. Whereas with a fixed blade, you get a little bit more forgiveness if that animal's moving. Again, assuming that that mechanical doesn't deploy early or doesn't hit the shoulder blade, that sort of thing. So each of them provide benefits. It's just you can't predict the situation you're in. So sometimes, so it's nice to have both. So let's take a look at these 5. I looked at the price, flight, and penetration through 2 different types of materials to determine my top fixed blade broadhead for this hunting season. And starting at number 1 is the Aimdor X1. Now get this, for 20 bucks you get 12 of these. That's $1.66 a broadhead. Never seen anything quite like that. Now this is clearly a Chinese knockoff of some G5 Montec broadhead or something of that nature. And so take that for what it's worth. But it's depending on your budget, it might be something that you look into. It's and I found them on Amazon, of course. 123.4 grains, 420 grade stainless steel, which I prefer that type of stainless steel because I could put a really scary edge on that. Something that you don't want to drag across your skin because you know it's going to slice you. As compared to tool steel, which you can get sharp, but difficult to get that scary edge, in my opinion. An inch and an eighth cutting diameter, an inch and 3/8 height from the tip of, from the seat of the arrow. And then I shot into a foam target with the Aimdors, and the penetration, and I shot several times to really look at the penetration both in areas of the target that hadn't been shot before and areas of the target that had. Because as you all know, a target that's been shot has pockets of air and is more aerated, and so penetration could be swayed one way or the other. And so I tried to create enough consistency to be able to evaluate these 5 broadheads. And so, first of all, flight was a little erratic with this broadhead, I'll be honest with you. And my bow setup is tuned really well. So, and the other broadheads flew very well. So wasn't necessarily my setup that was causing the problem. But they're also, because they're vented, they're loud, and you hear them in flight the whole way. So that was a problem, and that's why one of the reasons why they came in last, because of A, the erratic flight, and B, the noise. But from a penetration standpoint, the penetration was 13.25 inches, and that's very similar to the rest of the other broadheads. To be quite honest with you, a lot of them were 13 plus or minus a quarter or a half inch here or there. This is a 330 grain arrow. I shot it from a 70-pound bow at 30 yards. And because of the noise factor and because of the erratic flight, I chose not to evaluate the Aimdor in ballistic gel. So let's move on to from number 5 to number 4, which is the deep power broadheads. These again are sort of a Chinese knockoff or a very cheap Chinese Amazon special. $33 for 6 broadheads, $5.50 a broadhead, and that's really inexpensive. 125.4 grains a head, which I thought was great. Again, 420 grade stainless steel, also great. An inch and an eighth cutting diameter, and an inch and a quarter height from the top of the arrow. The penetration in the foam was a little bit more at 13.75 inches. but very similar, of course, to all the heads, not significant. And then from a penetration in the ballistic gel, it was actually 22 inches. So from the tip of my arrow to where you see the wrap beginning, it was the penetration for the deep power. I'll be honest with you, they flew well. They were quiet. They flew consistent. This is a broadhead that I would have no problem using. Again, it wasn't exactly sharp out of the box, but I would sharpen it and feel very comfortable shooting anything with these deep power broadheads. So take a look at them if you get a chance and see if it's worth the $33 for you. Coming in at number 3 was Wasp Drone, and to be honest with you, I've shot these for years. These were $43 for 3 of them. That's $14.30 a piece. They came in at 125.2 grains. Stainless steel. Again, they have replaceable blades, and that 420 grade stainless steel blade that is easy to sharpen and easy to get scary sharp. A very strong ferrule, steel ferrule, very strong hardened tip, chisel tip that, in my experience, has busted through bones and done a very good job and came out the other end looking still brand new. So in terms of toughness, this is a great head. Penetration, though, on the foam came in at 12.75 inches. It was the least of all of the broadheads that I evaluated. Again, just by, a half inch, really. It wasn't incredibly significant, but just by a half inch. And then from penetration in the ballistics gel, it came in at 22.5 inches. So just a smidge over the wrap here in the ballistic gel. So very strong performance with this broadhead, but it came in third. Again, I've shot them for years and really like them. But coming in at number 2 is the Iron Will broadhead. This is a vented 125 grain, $119 for 3 of them. So just to give you some by comparison, the most expensive broadhead in the mechanical space was $20 a head. It was the Rage hypodermic, no collar, and then you had the Aimdor at $1.66, the Deep Power at $5.50. This comes in at nearly $40 a head. Now it's built like a tank. I'm sure you've heard of them. You can see them. But it's A2 tool steel, which again is difficult to sharpen or really put an edge on it, in my opinion. At least anything that's really scary. But an inch and 1/16 inches cutting diameter, and I'll be honest with you, it's kind of closer to an inch in my opinion. But inch and a quarter height from the seat of the arrow, and penetration in the foam was 13.5 inches. That tied for first. And penetration in the gel was 23 inches. So in the foam, that would be about from my fingers to here, and then the gel at 23 inches. It's now got a significant portion, an inch of my wrap in there from a penetration standpoint. It was actually the tops in terms of penetration in ballistic gel. But it flies incredibly well. It does have some noise because of the vented nature. So if you prefer something that's built like this, I would go with something that one of their solid options. They also have a wide option too, and they also have single bevel. This is clearly double bevel. They also have single bevels that you can look at. So let's look at my number 1 broadhead for me for this year. I've never shot anything with this. It's the Cutthroat. It's 100. It came in at 127 grains. It is a single bevel. This is $115 for 3, and it's S7 tool steel. Again, not great, not easy to put a scary edge on, but an inch and 3/16 cutting diameter. The ferrule I'm sorry. The height is 1.5 inches, so it's a taller broadhead. And from penetration in the foam, it was 13.5 inches, which tied the Iron Will, and penetration in the ballistic gel was 22.75, so just 1/4 of an inch less than the iron will broadhead, but it's very, very strong. One thing I will say is that theoretically, a single bevel is supposed to sort of twist, sort of like a corkscrew as it goes through. And I looked at the wound channel in the ballistic gel, and it was clearly just straight. Like, it did not twist, because the idea here is that it's applying pressure to each side, and as that pressure is pushing and that arrow is going through, it's creating that twisting motion. But it did not do that in the ballistic gel, and I thought that was interesting. But regardless, I was really impressed with how it flew. No sound. It hit great and great penetration. So for this year, I'm going to be using the iron will. I'm not sorry, the Cutthroat, and we'll see how it does. So I hope that this has been of value. In the next video, I'm going to compare this to the mechanical broadhead that I chose, and we'll see how these two perform together. They're going to remain in my quiver, but let's just see how they compare fixed versus mechanical. So please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support, and best of luck this season.